Hey Flight Simmers, welcome back to part 3 of the lower large central override panel. This is what it's all about today, the full assembly of this lower central override panel. First we will connect the 3 segments of the panel together, then install all the toggle switches and the Korrys, and finally the wiring on the back side. As you can see here, I mounted an Arduino right to the bottom component with these little risers. You will find the link to it as well in the description. I'm using the Arduino extension board we created in one of the previous episodes. And first, it might be a little bit intimidating because of all the wires here. There's a lot going on, but don't be scared of it. It's actually pretty simple. I created a mapping table in an Excel sheet. You will find the link to it in the description. And just pick one by one of the components and connect it to the Arduino board. For the Korrys, I'm using my color coding of the wires. So just by the connector I can tell which LEDs are in there. Gray is always the push button, the connector, and the wire right next to it is the bottom LED and then the top LED. And I've used the corresponding color for the wires. In this case here it's blue and orange, and it's for the engine 2 NTIs. The bottom LED is blue, the upper one is red or orange. So I just can tell by the look at the wires which configuration is in the Korry. I would highly recommend to do this as well, because it's much simpler to figure out which component you're connecting at the moment. As you can see, I have not connected the backlight to this Arduino board because I want to use a central Arduino board for all the panels, and it's providing the backlight to all of the panels. So this backlight is not connected to the Arduino board directly. Later on we will just connect the DC jack from the backlight Arduino board, and here you can see the backlight. I just want to mention that not all of the Korrys are connected to the Arduino board. The ditching and the cabin pressure mode selector are not connected because I'm running out of connector pins of the Arduino board. I will connect these two later on with another Arduino, for example for the air condition that's on top of this panel. There will be another Arduino, and I simply will connect these two Korrys later on to a different Arduino board. The STL files for printing, the Bamboo Studio project, the wiring schematics are available on Patreon. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell. And now let's go into the assembly of this panel. Before we are able to assemble this panel, we have to print it, of course. And for this we need all the STL files for Bamboo Studio. Let's export all the files. And I will just show you an example of one segment. It's always the same with the 2 other segments. I will start with the log for the top panel. For every single body we want to export, it's pretty simple. Right click and save as mesh. Browse to a directory and save it. Do this as well with the bottom component, bottom right, middle and left, each individually. Right click, save as mesh, and save it as STL. A little bit different in the top component over here. There we have 3 folders, segment left, middle and right. And now it's very important that you disable the visibility of, for example, the middle and the right segment, because I want to export the left segment only. Just for visibility, right click on top and isolate, so everything else will be switched off, the bottom component and all the others. All right, now there's only my segment left visible in there. There are 3 folders, the top panel itself, the clear layers and the labels. Disable the clear and the label folders, that just the top itself is visible. And now go to the top component, right click and save as mesh. And now everything that's visible will be exported as a mesh. Browse to the directory and save the top. Now disable the top folder. The clear layers will be exported individually. Clear top. Save to the same directory as the top panel. The clear bottom. Then disable the clear folder and enable the label. Right click on the top component, save as mesh. Rename it to label. And now all parts for the segment left are exported. And with the remaining segments, it's the same. Just switch off the visibility of segment left, enable segment middle, and do the same with this folders in here. Okay, let's go to Bumper Studio and import the parts. I will start with the bottom component, and as well, it's every time the same with all the bottom parts. I will show you one example. This is the segment left. First, change the filament type to white. And in the objects page, just for this part, enable the support structure. Type is normal and style is snug. Threshold angle 5 degrees. Now when you're printing, slicing this build plate, you'll see that here in the flat areas for the toggle switches, there is the support structure created. But in the holes for the mounting rods, there is no support structure. And that's very important that we don't have support structure in here, because it's very hard to remove. So please make sure that in here are no support structures. There are basically 2 ways to disable the support structures in this hole. The easiest way is with this threshold angle. When you change it back to 30, it's the default value. Now you can see here is the support structure. And just by changing the threshold angle to 5 degrees, Bamboo Studio will just create the support structures in the flat regions over here and not in the mounting holes. And that's basically all you have to do in order to print this segment. Do this as well with the remaining two bottom segments. But for now, I will show you how to print a top segment. For this, I'm creating a new build plate. Browse to the segment left. Select all the files in here and open. I want to load these files as a single object. Lay on face, the top face. All right, and now let's assign the filaments. Clear, of course, to clear. The label to white. And the top is already in the right color. For this part, enable support structure as well. 5 degrees. All right, let's change the color scheme to summary. And now you see the right colors of the filaments. Clear in the first layer, the multicolor with white and the muted blue. All right, but as usual, or like the other panels we already printed, I want to change the line width to the layers with the labels. And for this, go back to prepare, right click on the part, or here in the objects tree, right click and add a height range modifier from 0.2 to 0.6. And in there, the quality, change all the line width to 0.26. Okay, and just like this, do this as well with the two remaining segments. Let's have a look on another build plate. Create a build plate. And now I'm adding the two knobs, the cabin pressure, the regular potentiometer knob, and the lock. But now, of course, I want to load these files as an individual object. Say no. Right click and change it to white. Now I've got these three parts. Let's start with the lock. Lay on face, on the side. And in order to print this little lock, I enable the brim, outer brim only. Here you can see the brim. Go back to prepare and now just clone this part. 13 clones. And when you slice the plate again, every lock has the brim. Let's continue with the knobs. In here, for both of the knobs, I want to enable the support structure. Go to the objects page, select the cabin pressure knob, enable support. Do this as well with the regular potentiometer knob. Change it to normal and snug again. this. But now you can see that in the middle, in the mounting hole, there is the support structure generated. And I want to avoid this because it's very hard to remove. And for this, I'm adding a support blocker, the cylinder. Just scale it to size and move it to the right spot. Right, now when the plate is sliced again, there's no support structure in the hole. Let's go back to prepare, the cabin pressure knob, right click, add support blocker, a cylinder, scale it to size, there's a little bit of support structure left. Okay, now it's gone. Perfect. And now just send it to the printer. Let's start with the bottom part of this panel. Here you can see the three segments. They're already cleaned up. All the support structures are removed. Now let's do the assembly. It's actually pretty simple. I'm just using these aluminum pipes, 6 millimeters in diameter, and I will just feed all the segments onto these pipes. It's a very tight fit. It maybe requires a little bit of force, like this, and now just apply both of the other panels. All right, now this panel is assembled, and it's actually not necessary to apply any glue to it because of the tight fit of the aluminum pipes. It just held in place. So pretty simple. Before I'm placing all the components to this bottom part, I will install the backlight. I've done a complete video about this, so if you want to have further information, please have a look on this video. I will just add this LED strip to the panel, cut it to size, and then add the DC jack and do all the wiring. I will speed up the video a bit. If you want to have a closer look on how to install the backlight, please have a look on the particular video. Okay, now all the LED strips are in place, and let's go on with the wiring. For this I already prepared several wires in different lengths. I cut it to size, strip the ends and put some solder to the ends, so it's a lot quicker than cut every wire individually. But the wiring itself is just like I did in the backlight video. So if you want to have a closer look on it, please have a look on this video. Okay, now all the LED strips are wired, and with a little bit of experience it's quite a task fast. It took for me about 10 to 15 minutes to wire it all up, and now everything that's left is to mount the DC jack. Okay, now of course, let's give it a little test. And as you can see, all the LED strips are illuminated. Great. Let's go on with the top panel. Here you can see the 3 segments, and now I will just use a little bit of super glue to glue all the pieces together. For this I'm using some masking tape. Just to keep the alignment. Right, now it will stay in place. And just apply a little bit of super glue to the faces. And wait until the super glue is dry, and then we will go on with the locks. And with the help of video editing, this panel and the super glue is already cured. Let's go on with assembling the locks. Just push it into place, and then we will add some glue to it. And now just apply a little drop to the backside of the locks. The easiest way to apply a little bit of pressure to the outside, it's with using the actual bottom panel. Just push it onto the top, but be careful, don't push it all the way onto the bottom panel, because there's a little bit of liquid super glue, and otherwise it will stick to the bottom. Just keep it as this until the super glue is cured. When the glue is fully cured, you can give it a little test. Just snap the panel together, check if everything fits as expected, and that looks really nice. And now I want to give it another test with a backlight, just to check if everything is illuminated evenly. And this looks really good. But here is a region in the middle with this bar on the landing lights and the runway turn-off light. All the labels in the middle are not fully illuminated. And therefore I will add another LED strip right here in the middle. This should fix this issue. Okay, now I just removed the LEDs in this overlapping region, and I want to have this LED strip underneath all the others, so that there is no heat issue underneath this LED strip. I just removed the LEDs. Let's give it another test, and now here you can see the bar of the landing light. It's much brighter. Let's start with adding the components. I will start with the region of the external lights, and I already did a full episode about this. It's I guess episode number 10. I will just use the whole assembly of this external lights panel we did in episode number 10, and will mount it to the new panel. I will not rewire it again. I will just use this assembly. The toggle switches for the external lights are in place. Let's continue with the remaining toggle switches. For this is always a good reference, the top panel. So you can see either it's a two-way toggle switch or a three-way. On top, this one is actually a momentary toggle switch, but currently I don't have it. I will switch it later. I will just use a regular two-way toggle switch. And now I'm inserting all the remaining toggle switches. Let's continue with the potentiometers. I already connected the wires to it. It's much easier than do it afterwards, after the potentiometer is inserted into the panel. There's another potentiometer for landing elevation auto, but it's not connected to the SIM. I will just insert a potentiometer, but without connection. It's just for holding the button in place. Right. Before I will add all the Korrys switches, I will do the wiring of the potentiometers, because now there's much more space than later when all the Korrys are placed in there. And like I did with the external lights, I will have one connector for each of the rows, for the bottom row, the middle, and for the upper single toggle switch. But just one connection to ground. As I did on the external lights, I will connect all the ground or the middle pins to the ground pin, and that's what I do first. Connect all the toggle switches, the middle pins, to ground. Okay, ground is connected, and let's go on and attach a wire to each of the remaining pins, all in different colors, to make it easier later when we connect it to the Arduino. All the wires are connected to the toggle switches, and now I have two connectors, one 6-pin for the middle row and the single toggle switch on top, and one 5-pin connector for the bottom row, and one female DuPont connector for the ground. And here for the potentiometer there is the power supply with a JST-XH connector and the analog input wire. Alright, now we can go on and mount all the Korrys switches. And I already prepared all the Korrys switches with the individual cover, and like I showed you in the Korry episode, I'm using a color coding for the wires. So just by have a look on the connector, I can tell which LEDs are connected to this Korry switch. In this case, gray is always the signal from the bottom. Then in the middle, there's a bottom LED, it's blue, and the upper LED, it's red or orange for the forward light. And there are even some Korry switches without a top LED. In this case, I just have the signal wire in gray and the bottom LED in blue. But to take care of the placement of the Korry switches, I labeled all the Korry switches with the exact spot I have to attach the Korry switch. In this case, it's the window probe right here in the middle. To attach a Korry switch, pretty simple, just feed the wires through the hole. And the Korry is in place. And let's go on with all the other Korry switches. Alright, the Korry switches are in place, and now please make sure that all the Korry switches are underneath the LED strips. Let's go on with attaching the halo rings. Just push it on top of the Korry switches. And of course the halo rings for the toggle switches. Before I'm attaching the top, I will give it a final check of the LED strips. And that's looking great, fantastic. Okay, now everything is in place. All the toggle switches, the Korry switches with the halo rings on top. So let's mount the top panel. Okay, the potentiometer knobs are in place. Let's go on with the back side. A lot of wires here. Alright, we want to connect all the wires to the Arduino board. For this I'm using my regular Arduino Mega board. But now I want to attach this board to this whole panel, and for this I'm using these little risers. You will find the link to it in the description, and I will just place the riser onto the panel on a free spot and just connect it there with some simple wood screws. So this location here would be nice above the external lights, toggle switches. And because I'm using a lot of ground pins for the Korrys switches, I want to mount one of our Arduino expansion boards to the Arduino. And now let's connect all the connectors of the Korrys switches and the toggle switches to the expansion board. If you want to use my assignment of the pins, just have a look in the Excel sheet I created. There are all the connections listed in there. This is my final result. I rearranged all the wires a little bit and made it a little bit more tidy with the usage of some cable ties. And now this is fully assembled. One last thing, on this ditching switch there is this little cover missing over here. I already connected the two parts with a 2mm brass tube, or you can even use a simple nail, just 2mm, something like this, a nail or a piece of tube, just connected like this. and insert it into the top panel. But first insert 2 nuts. In this case it's M3 self-locking. And with 2 bolts, M3 by 10 from the backside. Now the cover is on and ready to fly. We are at the end of this episode, and today we did the full assembly of this panel. In the next video we will connect it to the flight sim. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell, and see you in the next video.